Recently, beards and mustaches have become very popular among the male population. Dozens of so-called barbershops have already opened in many cities. And most managers of various enterprises and companies no longer react as sharply to bearded men as they used to. However, such a loyal attitude to beards and mustaches does not extend to all spheres of life. For example, civil aviation pilots and Air Force pilots are prohibited from growing beards and mustaches. The main reason for this ban is flight safety, since flying an airplane is a very responsible matter and is associated with certain risks. Then all the rules prescribed for pilots must be followed without fail. After all, the lives of not only the crew and all passengers of the airplane, but also people on the ground may depend on this. An airplane is a set of rather complex mechanisms and systems that are checked before each flight. And during the flight they are monitored, but this does not give a 100% guarantee that some kind of emergency will not occur at altitude. Since airplanes rise to an altitude of 9 to 12 kilometers to save fuel and fly in a rarefied atmosphere, then in the cockpit and cabin of the airliner, conditions are artificially created for people to be comfortable there. This includes air temperature, pressure, and oxygen saturation of the air. But in the event of some emergency situation associated with damage to the aircraft body and its depressurization, the oxygen from the cabin and cabin will very quickly disappear. And at such an altitude, there will simply be nothing to breathe. And in such a situation, each passenger is provided with an oxygen mask that falls out of the upper panel or the back of the seat in front. And the passenger must put it on his face as soon as possible. The oxygen supply will last for about 15 minutes, and this time will be enough to lower the plane to such an altitude at which it will be possible to breathe without a mask. In this situation, the lives of passengers will depend on the correctness and coordination of the pilot's actions. Each pilot has his own oxygen mask, and in case of an emergency, he must put it on his face in a matter of seconds. Otherwise, there is a chance of losing consciousness. At this point, the mustache and beard can play a cruel joke and prevent the pilot from putting on the mask quickly and correctly. In order for it to fit tightly to the face, it turns out that an ordinary mustache and beard can cost the lives of dozens or even hundreds of people. Therefore, pilots in normal airlines must fly the plane with a clean-shaven face. However, some African and Arab airlines allow pilots to have facial hair. At the same time, the mustache and beard should not be lush and must meet certain standards, otherwise the pilot will simply not be allowed to fly. Would you wear a beard if you were a pilot? Please like and subscribe. There will be many interesting videos ahead.